Y'all ready to be history?
Get started.
Welcome.
Hi.
Hello, everyone.
To the Pro Audio Suite.
These guys are professional. They're motivated.
With Tech to the VO stars. George Whittam, founder of Source Elements. Robert Marshall, international audio engineer. Darren Robbo Robertson and Global Voice. Andrew Peters, thanks to Tribooth. Austrian Audio, making passion heard. Source Elements. George the Tech Whittam. And Robbo and AP's international demos. To find out more about us, check theproaudiosuite.com.
Line up, ladies!
Here we go.
And welcome to another Pro Audio Suite, thanks to Austrian Audio, making passion heard. Now, talking microphones, I'm going to clear out a few of mine. I've got three that I'm selling, if anyone's interested, by the way. Free plug. Two Gefells, one an M92.1S, which is a tube or valve mic, depending on which side of the pond you're on. A M930 Gefell, the M930 Art, one of only 80 made, limited edition, to celebrate 80 years of George Neumann. And I have a very well used, but working perfectly, C414EB with the nylon capsule. They are going. And the reason they're going is because I'm looking at animation and what you need for animation as far as microphones are concerned. And we were sort of scanning around looking at Arcane last week. And I was watching behind the scenes, and guess what they were using?
U87s.
U87s.
And 41.6s.
Ah, there you go.
So they have the U87 close mic, which is probably about a foot anyway, and then another that looked about a foot and a half, maybe a bit long further back, was the 41.6.
You and I were talking about this, and I'm interested to know the why and the wherefores about that. I wonder whether it's because if they're just recording dialogue, they don't know in the room whether it's going to be sort of a close-up shot or a shot further back, and so they've given them a couple to choose from in terms of perspective, whether they're close up on the mic or not. I don't know. Do you know, Robert? I have no idea.
I think that's part of it. It gives you two perspectives, and you don't get the 41.6 farther back doesn't have such proximity effect, and then the U87's super warm and
that's right,
kind of
more intimate.
And also the 41.6 is more directional, so you can actually, instead of having a cardioid like 3 feet away, picking up everything, at least you can sort of narrow the target a bit.
I think it's very clever. Very cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, I digress.
I just wonder about the specific need for a 87.
Well, it's like, sort of like the 416, whether it's
it's a standard. But in a way, the question is, what is it? The 103? Isn't there one of those that's supposed to be very, very U87 like without emptying your pocketbook of all $3,000 and
the TLM 103?
Yeah, I thought there's one that's supposed to be 87 like and gives you the cardioid-ish performance of an 87.
103 is 87 like, is it? I don't know. I could be wrong.
Well, what capsule does the 103 use? Is it the K? What's it? A K?
K87 is the 87 capsule, but that's a dual-sided, multi-pattern capsule.
So with the TLM 103, obviously it won't be a dual capsule.
Well, the other problem is the TLM is transformerless.
What about the U89? What's the difference between that and the U87?
It's a better 87, smaller, quieter. It was the successor to the 87, basically, but didn't catch on quite as well as the 87 did. It's like 87's just got that cachet,
But that's the thing. Do you reckon the 87 thing, the whole thing about 87s is just it became a cliche? Because I was telling Andrew, I recorded a guy a couple of weeks ago on an agency job. It was a remote job, but he told me he was on a U87. And I can only presume that he was. And I was so underwhelmed by the sound.
I agree. I think
probably because he's got probably because he's got a great mic in a shit room.
Yes.
But it was so underwhelming. It was so like, oh, okay, if you say you are, sure, okay.
I think that 87s were...
Did you buy it off Temu?
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah, exactly.
They definitely got the body down. I don't know. I think that the 87 is technically not the greatest mic out there, but it just has the cachet and the legacy, and it does have a sound that works with a lot of people, but it's not necessarily for everybody. They're certainly darker than a 414, for example.
Well, the 818, it takes on the C12, which is obviously a bit more top end than a 87. And it depends on the voice too, because I know there's quite a few studios, obviously, in Australia that are full of 87s, which I always find slightly odd based on the Australian accent and the tone of an Australian accent, which is quite nasally.
Yeah, you've said
and the
this
one
a few
thing
times.
that U87s have is that honk.
nasal honk.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, maybe that's accentuating the Aussie accent, you could say.
Yeah. So,
Nothing
but
wrong with
I
that.
think an 87 might work really well with a lighter female voice, maybe.
I'd be interested to hear, I mean, because the reason for this, right, is Somerset, Andrew's daughter, is getting some and hoping to get into some more animation work.
Well, the good thing for her is that this is the other thing. She's been signed by a big American agent as an American.
Yeah, that's right.
So as far as the work she gets auditions for and
expectations.
and expectation to do the work everything will be as an American, which is kind of cool.
Which she a Californian or
She's like, what do you call it? Like if it's your the standard English, which is like nothing. No one actually talks like that.
Canadian.
Yeah. Well, my point was going to be, though, I'd be interested when you do end up picking up one. I'll be interested to hear, a comparison. This is 416. This is the 818. This is the U87. I'd be interested to hear.
And they also vary so much because I know of the studio in New York that I used to go to quite a lot was a really old 87. I think it was a 1970s, early 70s 87. And they sound quite different to...
I was going to say they could, yeah. And especially, I mean, even just an older capsule in general can sound so much different to a brand new one.
But I think the guts of the early ones are different to the guts of the new ones.
Well, there's the AI and the non-AI, which is a significant noise floor difference. That's one thing. And then the really old ones were actually designed, if you didn't know it, to run off of a battery as well as phantom power.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Wow.
I didn't know that. No.
Yeah, if you open up the inside of an old 87, there's a socket there to put a battery.
Ah.
I think actually it might even be a 9-volt battery, but I'm not sure.
Right.
Never actually put one in. But I'm pretty sure an 87 is a transformer microphone. Used to have a thing that could be battery or not battery powered. But funny enough, from what I'm reading, and I guess the 103 is supposedly the sort of Neumann's intention of being a poor man's cardioid 87. It uses the K103 capsule, which is a direct derivative of the K87 capsule found in the U87, except it's single-sided, which makes sense for cardioid only. The Neumann presence, like the U87, it features a presence boost in the upper frequencies, which not as much as a 414. Making the vocals sound incredibly direct and clear. And actually, the 103 is quieter than the 87 by almost 6 decibels. Although and that's the AI. It's quieter than the AI.
See, I would if I had the choice, if I was recording a female, well, even here, because I've got both mics, I would always use a 103 over a 416 any day.
But do they accept a
Always.
103? I mean, are they saying an 87?
No, I'm sorry. I'm
or
just saying
nothing?
for me in general.
I mean for
don't think so.
Somerset. Are they basically saying if you don't have an 87, you're fired?
No, but I do remember when COVID hit and everyone had to scuttle off home and set up their home studios and stuff like that. A lot of the agents were sending out stuff saying you must have. And one of the must-haves was a U87, which I always thought was kind of weird based on the fact that most of the environments that people were setting up in was shit.
And here's the other thing, right? Go and buy a U87, but we're not going to pay you for your home studio.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
I mean, an
it-
87's like, what are they, like $3,000?
Would be, US, yeah.
Not
I mean,
a
I
cheap
think they're
mic.
like close to 5,000 Australian, 4.8, I think.
Yeah.
No, more. Yeah, 5. No, they're more than that, I think.
I can't think of any situation if someone asked me what microphone should I buy for my home studio where I would tell them to go and buy a U87. I honestly can't. Well, not here in Australia anyway.
I think of it more as one of those mics that, like, you need it as a studio owner. It's a badge, and I think that there's far more affordable mics that can get you at least as good a
there's
sound.
Similar results.
Yeah. I mean, not to toot the horn, but I really think the 818 at $1,200. What's an 818? $1,200, something like that.
US,
I've
yeah.
recommended 818s to half a dozen people, I reckon.
Cleaner, better,
all
more
seriousness,
Yeah,
and
there's so many reasons I think it.
Absolutely. I love this mic. It's by far my favorite mic.
Yeah, it's just so much better of a deal, and the performance is at least there. I mean, they're gonna have a different character of sound, but they're in the end they're both highly professional. And
Well, if you think about what the 818 is, it's actually a modern take on the C12.
mm-hmm.
Yes, that's right.
So, and they've done, I mean, the R&D they were doing at AKG before it disappeared, and then Austrian Audio took over the factory and the R&D and the people. That was years and years and years worth of testing C12s and trying to find the perfect spot where all those mics sat. And that's when they built the capsule, which is called the CKR12.
So to go back on one thing, apparently the TLM 193 is also a close to the supposedly close to the 87
or the U87.
Yeah, and maybe not as hyped. It's actually more like the 89, maybe. But the 89 and the 87 were like the 89 was kind of a replacement for the 87.
I nearly scored one of those ones.
Those are good. 89, they're smaller too. The 87's a big microphone.
They're huge, aren't they?
Yeah.
You see them with the counterbalance weights and hanging up in the studios and stuff. That's how heavy they must be. Yeah.
Oh, you get there in the morning and things lying on the floor.
Oh, no.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, with the head basket 6 feet away.
Yeah, exactly.
Lovely. That's just what you'd want to find, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Insurance company.
Yeah.
Now, George was talking about that mic. Was it TLM 193, did you say?
Yeah, the 193 it's probably more expensive, but it's capsules based on the 89, but it says here that it's less hyped than the 103.
Because the 103 has got quite a bit of crunch at the top, isn't
the 103 seems to be a little bit brighter than the 87, and that's probably due to being transformerless, and the transformer adds, some warmth and a little bit of that fuzzy, what we call warmth.
Yeah.
It's interesting that they don't make any of those, they're all TLM series. So there's nothing with a transformer that really replaces it in a sense.
Well, it's funny because the Gefell I was talking about, the M930,
smooth,
that's transformerless, but they did do one with a transformer.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the name of that one now.
Well, it was a 930. There's a lot of ones. Like, you look at the Audio Technica series and the 4047, I think. So you have like the 4033 and the 4040 and the 4020, and those are all transformerless. But then Audio Technica's got the 4047 specifically. They threw a transformer in there just to color it up.
Yeah.
Here's a rundown of the 87 versus the 818, according to the internet. The 87 will be warmer and more forward in the mid-range. The Austrian Audio 818 will be more transparent, modern sounding with more linear mids. In other words, not so forward in the mid-range. The 87 will have a relaxed top end. The Austrian 818 will have a sparkly and high detailed top end. The 87 is industry standard for voice, less flexible features. Exactly from the internet. The Austrian Audio is insanely flexible with a dual output and app control. Yep. 87 transformer coupled output, vintage character and warm. The Austrian Audio 818, multipolar patterns, more useful in post-production, and transformerless.
Boom.
I think what it doesn't mention here is I believe the 818 is quieter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, that would make sense.
Yeah. But if you think about historically when you had, you look at Abbey Road back in the 60s, so they would have had
67s.
67s, and they had C12s.
And 47s.
Yeah. But if you look at the 67 and the C12, actually they do a 40, that's not really matter, 47, 67, whatever. But the C12 was also a tube or valve mic, but had a lot more sparkle than the 47 or 67.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always been thus.
Yes, it has been.
And continues with Austrian Audio.
And the 47 is, I believe, even darker than the 67. And I think the 67 actually is a little bit brighter than the 87, but I'm not sure about that. The 67 is a really good mic, I have to say. Like, even though the 87 and the 67 should be the same, they say the 87's like a transistored version of the 67. The 67 is, I think, much more smooth from my experience. I've used both. Yeah. The 67 is a pleasure to use for sure.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of similar to the M92.1, the Gefell.
Yeah.
People swear by them. They're the UM57, which is what they would have been back in the 50s, 60s, the UM57, which was the Gefell microphone.
Yeah, that was one that had the M7, the Russian or the East German M7 capsule version. Yep, which was actually the real M7s because that's where all the tooling was.
Yep, correct, and still is. And the Gefell, I've got the M92.1S has the M7 capsule. So there you go.
I guess they say the 87 is actually brighter than the 67. But I'd say the smoother. Maybe that's what they mean. But
so, is it worth investing in a U87?
I think it's hard to.
Correct.
Yeah, there's some.
I don't know. I get why you sort of feel you need to sort of go that way. But at the same time, given your mic locker, I kind of wonder, if they turned around and said, if you got a U87, but you turned back around and went, well, actually, no, but I've got blah, 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 blah.
I think it makes a difference for a studio who's selling time and selling mics, but does it really make a difference?
You're still running the mics through a preamp, and that's, and the room. So there's many other things at play, really.
Well, this is it, right? There's so many other things that color it, and that's what I'm saying. I kind of, look, the only thing I can sort of wonder whether maybe this is the reason behind it is maybe for some reason on the post-production side, they want a standard mic. So regardless of everything else, they want the voice record. This is the microphone we want you to use because we want a standard mic across the whole production. Yep. And that can be the only thing that I can think of that could be a possible reason.
It's for repeatability.
Yeah, sure.
Right? Like one thing that is true is like if you go from one studio to the next and everyone's got an 87 and someone's here or there and you can get someone back in front of an 87 and supposedly there's some consistency there. It's going to travel like a 416.
Of course not. Who's going to travel with a U87? I wouldn't be putting one in my bag.
No way.
It's like, anyway, but yeah, that's about the only thing I can see because it's always miffed me, this whole, you must have and it is probably more prevalent in the States than it is here. I don't see it.
Yeah, definitely.
Don't see it here at all.
What, the 87 you don't see?
You must have if you want this job, you must have a blah mic or, blah, blah, blah. I don't see that.
I've never seen anybody suggested microphones and it's like a badge of whatever, your level of achievement that you can afford. But I've never seen anybody not get a gig because they don't have an 87. That's
I think if the studio wants you, they're going to want you. If the studio listens to Somerset's demo or listens to Somerset's audition and goes, you know what, she's perfect for the job, I don't think that any producer in their right mind is going to turn around and go, well, listen, you can't have the gig because you haven't got a U87.
And then Somerset can be like, pay me up front and I'll get it.
And if it came down to that, I'm sure Andrew would be out the door and up to the local Neumann store in a flash going, give me the first U87 off the shelf, please and thank you.
I mean, the really funny thing is, honestly, if it was like, hey, we like you on an 87 or here's this wonderful tube Gefell.
Yes.
They should actually pick the Gefell probably.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, if they heard it, they would for sure.
That's right. Absolutely. Yeah. They'd be mad if they didn't.
Yeah.
Anyway.
The trouble is, of course, if you ran up to the store to buy one, you wouldn't be able to get one because there's no stock in Australia of U87s.
There's no 87 stock?
No, gone.
So it's like, it is the most expensive yet sold out. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Because of the legend in inverted commas, which I don't get. I get the legend thing. I really don't. I'd pick 1,000 mics before I picked a U87 for voiceover. I'll be honest.
I don't mind it on voiceover. I just don't think it makes it's the voice. It's the room. It's
the same as any other mic, right?
Yeah.
It's not some magic wand that you wave and everything everything you record sounds perfect.
It's just the smaller the factor. The performer is first. The room that you're in is second. The mic and the preamp are third, and I'm not sure which.
The U87 is just another tool in the shed. It really is.
Yeah. Well, I think the order is performance, room, mic, and then preamp. You can say mic, preamp.
Well, I mean, preamp probably more so because you're not going to go out and buy a new preamp. So you want a mic that's going to sort of match your preamp, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
think the
preamp
mic
before
probably
mic,
makes.
I would have thought.
Yeah, if you like, here's the problem: if you throw garbage on either end of that, you're gonna have garbage. So it's like, how low do you want to go?
That's
But
right.
a fairly transparent preamp should technically act like it's not there, and a pretty decent mic should be fairly flat. But I would say that the mic has more of a chance of coloring things than a preamp in general.
Plug your U87 into a Scarlett then.
People do it all the time. That's
I know,
the funniest
but-
thing. It's like, here's my $3,000 mic and my $100 interface.
Right. But
Yeah.
that's right. Exactly. So why? I don't get that either. You know, it's
Yeah.
like, here's my $50 million Bentley and I'm going to go down to Joe's local garage and get it serviced. It's like, I don't
You
can
get some
understand.
crappy tires on it. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Some Kmart tires on my Bentley.
But the reality is that you'll still get to where you're going in the Bentley, and the Scarlett's going to power up and make that 87 run perfectly fine. And would it sound a little bit better on a better preamp, like a Grace or something? Probably. But
Yes.
just like the 87 has this diminishing returns compared to some other mic, like, if 70% of it is the performer and 20% of it is the room. The last, whatever, I've not done my math.
10%.
10%, yeah, is the preamp and the mic in whatever division of those two you want. And don't forget the converter, by the way.
Yeah.
That is the last and least difference in this whole
And let's
chain.
not forget the engineer on the other end of it too. You know, what he does with
true.
it can fuck it up too.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Or save it.
Or save it, one or the other.
Yeah.
Right. Because in the end, it's all going to be thrown through some stupid plug-in, EQ'd and warped some more.
It's always funny, isn't it, when people go, oh, the room's a bit a bit of reverb in the room. Can you sort that out? And then get the file and then add reverb to it to give it some excitement.
Yes. But it's a little more controlled.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But
And who adds reverb to voiceover? I mean, yeah.
Well, I think those days are sort of gone, aren't they?
yeah,
Did they ever add reverb to voiceover?
I used to in Radioland for a little while. Not massive amounts.
Really?
Yeah.
just to excite it. Yeah,
Just to excite it, give it a bit of presence. Or not presence, but you know what I mean. Give it a bit of shape.
yeah.
Put it somewhere in the mix. So yeah, back in radio days, we were dialing in some reverb on the old Rev 7. So yeah,
The Yamaha.
there you go.
I was always like, it's like the voice of God. It's funny because, like, is the voice of God like this big reverberant thing, or is it like super direct, so it's inside your head?
I think it's super direct and inside your head. Yeah. Steve Britton, who we used at Triple M, we never really put reverb on him. It was more of a delay. It was more of like a slap delay or something on Steve, on that voice of God type of thing, or someone like Andrew. You wouldn't use reverb on that. But if it was like a female voice on a radio commercial or something, you'd put a little bit of, I don't know, what would you put on it? Maybe like a plate, like a short plate or something like that.
Yeah, I only ever put effects on for commercials. I mean, for music, of course, but for commercials, it was always just dry and direct, and unless you're going for a story element,
Oh, it would only be subtle. You certainly, you'd have to really sort of study the mix to hear it. It would be there, but it wasn't sort of an in-your-face element. No.
I wonder what they used to do with Don LaFontaine. We should ask George.
George would know, yeah.
We just had someone go through tech support, and we had to help him get Source Connect in line with his processing. And emails that went through is, usually the engineers don't want processing on your voice. Are you sure you want to do this? And the guy says, I forget what he said, like, I'm a 30-year veteran. And while I agree with you in general, I find that most engineers these days do not do to my voice what I know I can do better than them.
Right.
I don't like the way they make me sound. I need to.
You know my production better than me,
Right,
do you?
like-
Okay, very good.
You're like,
Yep.
okay.
Well, you won't mind if I book someone else then. Thank you very much.
I'm a 30-year veteran engineer. You're fired.
You're like, okay, we'll help you process your voice.
Yeah, and if you want to sell that U87 you use, I know somebody might want to buy it.
That's right.
Bye-bye.
Well, that was fun. Is it over?
The Pro Audio Suite, with thanks to Tribooth and Austrian Audio. Recorded using Source Connect. Edited by Andrew Peters and mixed by Robbo. Got your own audio issues? justaskrobbo.com. With tech support from George the Tech Whittam. Don't forget to subscribe to the show and join in the conversation on our Facebook group. To leave a comment, suggest a topic, or just say g'day, drop us a note at our website, proaudiosuite.com.